Yeah.
You guys are breathing.
It's because it was really hard to walk up the stairs and go potty.
Everybody just breathe into your mic because I can isolate it.
Oh, sorry.
Just breathing, please. Because what will happen is I can isolate that and take it out so it's not like, to the Twaddling Along podcast.
Holy crap.
I'm your host.
That's literally what I'll probably sound like today.
Walk down the stairs.
Gotta go potty.
It's Twaddling Along. All right.
Man colds, I only have one URL.
I just have multiply and replenish the earth.
Welcome to the Twaddling Along podcast. I'm your host, Dan McBride, here with my brothers and co-host, Jake.
Hi.
And Josh.
Howdy.
How are you guys?
We're doing good. I like, Jake, how you like pause right before you say hi. It's
He
like,
does,
Jake,
every time.
I have to think about it for a moment.
I have to think of an entrance.
And the answer that you think of is, hi.
It's like when you get the blank birthday cards and inside and you're just like, happy birthday. That's all you put.
You're like, I'm going to write this poetry. You know?
It's like, I thought really hard about this.
So no introductions today other than I'm going to share a quote because I really like it. This is from Thomas Edison. He says, just because something doesn't do what you planned it to do doesn't mean it's useless. And I'd like to think that's the a catchphrase for our podcast.
I was going to say, because nothing... I like how you do it when it's my time to host, too. It's like, this is a joke.
Useless.
Just so you're aware.
Oh, my
This
gosh.
week on Twaddling Along, it is Joshua's turn. We have gone through history. We've gone through the paranormal, which means that we are finally on our third category, which is the human condition. So, Josh, what do you bring for us today?
The human condition, obviously. Duh. I mean, come on. No, we're going to be talking about a subject that is very well known in our family.
Very well known, huh?
Very well
Just
known.
our family.
Yeah, just our family. And as my brothers found out, a lot of wives have something to say about this.
Absolutely.
A lot of online critics about this type of condition, but we're going to talk about it anyways because I think it's kind of funny. So we're talking about the man cold today, otherwise known as the man flu. That's a lot of what I was able to find.
I was going to say, or the one that keeps coming up again and again is wimpy man syndrome.
And
the wimpy man syndrome.
And literally, I take offense to that because my wife, on the way here, she was like, do you need like a woman's perspective on this? And she was like, because I could give you one. I was like, oh, no.
My wife thought about it carefully and sent me a text, and maybe I'll have to share it later. She's very nice, but it's one of those, it's like, oh.
I should send my wife a text right now and be like, describe what Josh is like.
I don't even know if I talked to my wife about it because I was scared of what she was going to say. Because I'm pretty convinced that if I asked her, she would be like, oh, so what you're talking about is how weak and useless you are when you have a little sniffle. While I'm taking care of the kids, I'm trying to do everything around the house, and you're over there like, oh, my nose hurts because I wiped it too much.
Ooh, Kleenex.
This podcast brought to you by Kleenex.
Kleenex, thanks for wiping my nose.
I'm glad you said
We
nose.
expect money, Kleenex.
So, as to start off, I'm going to read the official Oxford Dictionary definition of man cold.
There is one.
There is an actual definition, and it says, a cold or similar minor ailment as experienced by a man who is regarded as exaggerated the severity of the symptoms. There you go. There's this week's podcast, everyone.
Does it have a picture of Joshua McBride?
Hey, it's true. I put it in there. I submitted it a few weeks ago just because I knew that this was coming up. But yeah, a similar element of exaggerating the severity of the symptoms. So for anyone who doesn't know what a man cold is, when a man gets a cold...
A man.
Sounds like the talk. You see, when a man...
when a man does something.
When a man loves
when a man gets a cold, all of a sudden it turns into a near-death experience. And I'm not talking like seeing angels or going to heaven or the other side. Literally, this man is about to die just because he has a cold.
Or perceived that he's going to die.
Perceived, yeah.
The perception is that he is on his way out. So, which one of us most recently had a cold?
Me.
Jake.
I'm still recovering.
So, how long? Number one, how long did you have the cold?
I'm still going. It's 14 days.
Did anybody else in your family have it?
My kids got it, but my wife did not.
Oh, see, so we can't even compare.
No, we really can't. Well, I wouldn't say that because she might listen to this later and be like, no.
Excuse me?
What did you just say to me?
Yeah, you know what? And it's funny because a lot of the stuff that I found online about this was just basically wives and mothers ranting about how men suck.
There's a lot of blogs.
Yeah. But I did find some actual studies, medical journals and psychological journals that talk about what it could actually be, that it's an actual real life sickness.
Really?
Yep.
I'm skeptical.
So were every other woman on the blocks.
Yeah, I was going to say. Wait, so is every other woman? What are you trying to say?
Wait. Nope, I was right.
Now, I will say this. Those medical journals were written by men. So that could explain...
Probably when they were sick.
Yeah,
They put together this study and they're like, I just need to write this real quick.
I need to verify my feelings.
I better get some peer reviews. Oh, my other friends are sick too.
Okay, so here it goes. The first study that I found talks about the chemical balances of both men and women. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things that it talks about is women have estrogen, of course, as we know, and that estrogen actually decreases the rate of multiplication for the virus and or bacteria. So they actually do not have it spread as quickly as men. And that was one of the examples that they give. So the virus spreads quicker and gets sicker quicker. Yeah, it's funny.
Sicker quicker.
Than women do.
Really worked.
Sicker quicker.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting? Estrogen.
So does testosterone play a part of it then?
No,
it's just estrogen.
Estrogen slows down those.
Interesting. See, so that verified it. 100%.
Hey, wait. I'm reading here in some random URL that testosterone appears to have more immune suppressing effect.
So
what
was that written by a woman?
I don't know.
I think immune suppressing is a good thing. Doesn't that mean that it also says that testosterone has something to do with you getting sicker quicker?
Probably.
I'm going to use that from now on.
It's sicker quicker.
I'm just really confused. Immune suppressing. So if you're immune, doesn't that mean that you're doing good? So if it's suppressing your immunity, isn't that making it worse?
I think so.
So testosterone does cause.
Oh my gosh!
Worse. Well, aren't we glad I'm close to 40? That testosterone's going to go down, and my colds are going to get over in like a day or two.
I saw our grandpa. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I was gonna say, for all those who don't know, the McBride gene and our mom's father, I would say they had really good man colds.
They did. Specifically, our grandpa Minson, which is our mom's dad.
Yes, yeah.
He when he got a cold, you knew about it.
He has since passed, and so we're going to talk very openly about how, I don't know, open he was about the fact that he was sick.
Yeah, and
I'm sick.
I'm sick.
Cockeyed twit.
You know, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. I love that man. I miss him daily. Sorry to make anyone cry, family members who are listening to this. But he was so unique in the sense of sicknesses and like,
oh, all the time. The amount of times, well, number one, that man just bled for no reason.
Yeah, seriously.
Like you would go up and visit him, and he would be like wandering down the hallway, and all of a sudden, as Jake just said, he would say, "Cockeyed twit," and he'd just come out and just blood covered, and you're like, oh great, like is he dying? No, he just like cut his arm, and
yeah, he ran into the light switch.
He was taking blood thinners, so a wind would hit his arm and he would start bleeding.
Seriously, we had to replace his light switches in his house to flat ones that you just had to like tap because he kept running into everything.
Tarnation. No, but I mean, you think about it. So going into the medical history of our family, sorry, everyone, but like we're kind of doomed
Oh yeah.
with some of the things going on.
Oh yeah.
So like there's a very good possibility that maybe when we do get sick, we actually do get more sick. Maybe it's more like a family thing. Do you ever think about that? Like,
Well,
maybe...
I could bring up the psychological side since we're about it. It also deals with very dramatic people.
What?
And
We're not dramatic.
we're if anyone heard that who knows Josh McBride, I'm sorry, he's a liar. I'm the most dramatic person on the planet.
It's not like we're doomsdayers either when we get sick. It's like,
seriously.
oh, my left arm, I think it's a little numb. I'm going to lay down on the bed.
Okay, story time.
I'm dying.
So, as we all get older, I've gained a lot of weight since I've gotten married. I'm a very happy man. The weight's been nice. So, I've had some ailments that I didn't have when growing up because I was a stick. And
we thought he was adopted.
Some people told their friends that I was adopted.
I never told my friends. I just didn't correct them when they said you were. It was one of those like sympathetic things like, oh, your little brother is adopted. You guys are so good. And it's like, yeah, I guess we really are.
I say, yeah, and you shouldn't be offended, Josh. But the reason they were saying that is because Danny and I were not skinny.
We're not skinny, exactly.
I didn't look like you guys
The reason they
at
thought you
all.
were adopted was pretty much was like, oh, he's fit.
And every time you walk, you jiggle.
Well, that has since changed. Now
Aw.
we all look like each other.
Oh, it's true. That's nice.
But anyways, I have ailments that I never had. So, for example, this was a few weeks ago, maybe months ago. I wake up and have extreme heart pains, and of course, my immediate thought is, "This is it.
I'm out of here.
I'm gone. My wife's at work. I'm having a heart attack. I'm gonna go in, but I just know that this is the end." So I go to the hospital, and the only mask they have, because this is when masks were still required in the doctor's office, they had a child's mask. And so I put on, and it was a bluey mask, and here I am going out of this world with a bluey mask on.
No better way to go.
No better way to go. And it gets even better, because I sit down, or they take me back to my room, and they're playing the show with William Shatner.
Unexplained.
Unexplained.
Oh, what a great
So
show.
here I am sitting on this bed watching Unexplained. William Shatner, his soothing voice of, "Is it unexplained?" And I'm going out, and they come in and they said, "It looks like you have a sore muscle." And I had to explain to my wife why we had to spend so much money on like an EKG and just for maybe a pulled muscle I had while I slept wrong or something.
I think we've all. So I know for a fact I've done it. I know that Jake has done it too. It's you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, am I feeling my heart stop? And then you start going through. Okay, have I prepared my family enough to when I die? This is going to be traumatic for my wife when she finds me dead in the morning. And yeah.
I'm like, I have a little like travel case of cash on the thing. I'm like, oh, she's fine. She'll be okay. No, you wake up and the problem is you're like, okay, my heart's acting a little funny or something, and then you're like, my left arm's numb. Not the fact that you've been sleeping on your left arm for the last
The whole night.
several hours. So now you're like, oh my gosh.
Here I go.
And you know, you also have the marks on the left arm too, and you're like, oh my gosh, I see them, and it is perfectly the same size as your fingers that your hand was, resting on your left arm too. I've had that before.
So here's a question: do you think that men are more hypochondriac-like than women?
No, I think we just like being pampered.
Well, I'll bring up this. In that psychological study I read about the man flu, the reason that men exaggerate their sickness is because if they come across as just saying, oh, I'm sick, I can't go to work, and it's something little, then people will probably be like, oh, you could have
Man
gone
up.
into work. Yeah, man up.
Pull up your bootstraps.
You almost said big girl panties,
I
didn't
did
you?
say big girl panties. That was really
That's
close.
a phrase
That's
that we
a
have
phrase
in
in
our
the family.
family.
Pull up your big girl panties. It was close.
Yeah, but they talk about that, how men have just been ingrained in our mind that we have to be tough, and so the only way that we'd go down is if it's something humongous and
Really, really sick.
Yep,
Yeah.
and hence the man flu. You can't just have a cold and not going to work. You have to be dying on your bed with a fever of 99.1.
99.1. 98.8. Honey, I don't feel good.
I pooped. It looked funny.
I think that's a different sick, Josh.
Oh, really? Oh, crap. I researched the wrong thing. Here we go.
So I will tell you this. I just typed in man flu for AI. Wanted to see what AI had to say. They said, however, there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that men experience more severe symptoms than women when they're sick. In fact, some research suggests that women may experience a faster improvement in symptoms than men. So maybe it's just not necessarily that they're sicker than us. It's just that they get better faster.
Oh, interesting.
So
it lingers.
It lingers. I mean, Jake said he's been sick for 14 years, so...
Hey, almost half a month. Thank you very much.
I guess this is when I should bring up our mom told us before we came down.
Which, by the way, if anybody forgot, we do this in our parents' basement because we're adult men.
And to get away from our wives for a second, because I know that our wives would come and comment
Oh,
on
100%.
what we talk about.
The mics would be taken away,
Yes. Yep.
and there would be much spilling of the beans.
Yes. Yep.
All the stories would come out.
Hey, that could be a good episode.
The
Twaddling
wives.
along the wives of the Big Pride Men.
So, anyways, what did Mom say?
So Mom was saying that we need to point out that one of the reasons the man colds exist is because they don't listen to their wives. And that's what she said, word for word, verbatim, that
is
they
true.
don't go and take the necessary pills or go to the hospital when they're supposed to, and that's why they suffer.
Okay, so I've got a question. Let's take sickness out of it, and let's just say just generalized pain. Like, you're working out, you feel kind of sore afterward. Is there kind of a joy in that pain? I know that sounds funny, but there's every once in a while where I'm like, I kind of like the pain. I like feeling like I've done something. And so for when I get colds, a lot of times I won't take medication because I'm like, I kind of like it. I like the
I think
feeling.
there's a word for that, Danny, but I don't want to say it.
Is it masochism?
I think it is.
Oh, great.
I was just about to say,
Masochistic.
sorry. You know, when you bring that up, I think of this. Kids love Band-Aids.
Oh, they love Band-Aids.
So I did everything I could when I was young to get a Band-Aid.
Oh,
Even if there was no cut there, I would make a cut. Not saying that I cut myself when I was younger, but I would go do something that would probably produce.
You guys are concerning me.
Maybe this is a therapy session, letting out the bag.
has nothing to do with man flu. Maybe we just have some deep-seated issues.
I like getting sore, but man, I hate any type of cold symptoms. If I get sniffles or even a remote cough, I'm just like, ugh,
Oh,
this
coughs.
is horrible.
Well, now coughs are a whole different animal. Like, coughs to me are just the worst thing in the world because when we get a cough, especially, and I'm saying we as in our family, it stays forever.
And it's that
14 plus days.
it's that deep cough that's like the bottom of your lungs, so every muscle in your body's like convulging as you cough. Oh,
well, I
my
inherited
gosh.
Dad's cough, so it sounds like a partial gag throw up every time you get to the very end of it.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then of course that's when my wife comes in and goes, are you
you
okay?
dying?
Are you fine,
And see, that
honey?"
validates what I've been feeling of like, it's true. If she thinks I'm dying,
Then I
must
probably
really be
am
dying.
dying.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I think
lay in the bed casket style. I'm done.
I also wonder if
prepare
it's not
myself.
even necessarily exaggerating. It's just that we don't hide it well. When my wife is sick, she hides her symptoms very, very well. Like it's really hard to kind of tell that she's sick because she's up and doing things. And if she's coughing, she coughs petitely. If she sneezes, it's a petite sneeze. When I sneeze or cough, it's like it rattles the house. My children are running for cover.
Yes.
People are calling the police across the street.
Yep.
It's so I maybe women are just better at hiding stuff, and I'm sure that's the case in multiple areas of life, not just the man cold. Or
Back to this
colds.
random article I found. It says here, women are taught that their needs are less important. So generally, they're less likely to speak out about it. Where men, we have to speak out about the problem. If you are feeling even remotely uncomfortable, you're going to express it, at least to your wife. I don't know if you're going to express it to other men.
That we have a cold?
Oh no, I express it.
You express it to other men?
Really? Oh,
Do
my
you
goodness.
do you text all your friends?
My coworkers. I am sick.
Walk in through your work store and be like, I am going home because I'm sick.
No, I've
Excuse me,
noticed a
everybody.
trend. If you do have male coworkers, if you do text in sick, it just so happens that they're sick on the same day.
There is some truth to that.
So they're like, "Oh, he is sick." So like that's
well,
what
actually,
I've been
you know
feeling.
something. I have a lot of people at where I work that when they're pretty good at hiding their sickness too.
So is it just us?
Maybe it's just us. Maybe we're the problem. I'm the problem. It's me. Oh, I'm gonna get sued by Taylor Swift now.
Taylor?
I think there's
Does
a
Travis Kelce get the man flu?
Oh my gosh, that I'm gonna write him in.
Someone ask.
I'm gonna reach out to the New Heights
Hey,
podcast, and they have a question and answer period. And usually it's about football, but I'm gonna ask.
We're gonna ask about the man flu.
Yes, and specifically ask, "Hey, Travis, can you ask Taylor Swift if you get the man cold?"
So one of the things that concerns me is if women are better at hiding their things and have been taught over years and years and years, how can there be equitable health care? I know I'm
Ooh, wow,
we're
this is-
diving deep.
Jeez,
Wow.
political.
Sorry.
Here we're
But
talking
like,
about.
I mean, in reality, like a woman goes into the doctor, and let's say it's a male doctor, and she says something like, "Oh, you know, I've been feeling a little run down, but it's not too bad." You know, is he going to treat her differently than a guy who comes in, expresses that he's sick? I'm sick. You know, I'm nose is running. I'm feeling crappy. When in reality, they've got kind of the exact same symptoms. Really, it's just that the explanation of symptoms are different.
You know, that brings up a story. My wife had kidney issues when she was very little, 6 months, 7 months, and she had a kidney disease or something like that. Well, her mom was so concerned, brought her into the doctors and everything. They found out it was kidney disease, but almost didn't treat it because my wife was happy. And she was smiling. She wasn't expressing any of these, emotions that a baby normally would when it's going through something. Oh, did you hear that, everyone? Man cold.
Sorry,
Man cold.
But I think you're right. I think as a doctor, it's really hard to assume that there's something more than what they're telling you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's the problem with medicine just in general is that unless there's any kind of communication from the person that is sick, you're not gonna get the full answers.
Yeah.
It's like you go into the Instacare and you see a long line. And all you have to say is, "My left arm's numb and my chest hurts." And immediately you're taken back.
I
You
was gonna
bypass
say-
everyone in line.
But I mean, do you guys know the story of Grandma?
Which one?
So our Grandma Minson, which is our mom's mom,
Oh, yes.
thought she was having a heart attack, drove to the hospital, and there wasn't a lot of parking spots, so she just drove home.
Dorothy.
And she just, I mean, so like I would never do that. I mean, I'm pulling in the ambulance spot and jumping out, and I'm dying. You know, it's
Yeah.
like they're poor women. Sorry, women. Sorry, women.
Sorry that men exist.
Sorry that men exist. I'm not that sorry, but I am sorry that you have to deal with us.
Now, I will say this. We're going to dive into a little, not PG-13 because of it's gross, but just a little bit more help. Some say, and a lot of the articles I read are, women have to deal with pain at a certain time of month, every month.
That is true.
And that pain causes them to get used to not feeling well and still being able to do their daily, tasks or whatever during the day. And so they've learned, and it's taught, that you just have to overcome that and just go about your day, and it bleeds into other sicknesses and whatnot of, oh, I have a cold? Well, you just have to to do what you need to do.
I love this. This is an opinion piece in The Guardian. This is the title. If man flu means men moaning on about minor symptoms, then yes, man flu is real.
See?
I love that.
I think that's true.
So what about man flu in the era of COVID? Because we're kind of we're a couple years out from the main COVID scare and everything like that. But do you think that had any change on the man flu?
I think recognizing the cold. I feel like the cold has become a lot more serious since COVID.
Oh, 100%.
Like you have a cold and
You
usually
stay home.
Yeah. Usually you used to go into work or whatever,
yeah.
but now
we're
it's
expected to go into work.
Yeah, but now it's like no, like
Stay
buzz
away.
off, yeah. So, and then there's Jake.
And then there's me. Yep. I'm here.
Hi, everybody. I'm here.
Hey, I just want. I'm so happy to be part of this podcast, guys. I'm glad I took time out of my busy, sick weekend.
The reason I said that in this same opinion piece, there's a part that says COVID robbed us of the satisfaction of man flu for a time.
That's because it killed the man.
When a
Well, of course, yeah.
No dirt, Sherlock.
this isn't fun anymore.
See,
It's like I'll show you. I'm out.
yeah, it's easier to fake it than actually experience the thing. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I definitely believe that COVID-19 has exaggerated it for us. So now like everything is, you get a sniffle and you're like,
well, you start
COVID.
panicking. Even now, having gone through COVID a couple times and realizing that it doesn't affect me as heavy as it once did.
mm-hmm.
Like the minute I get a sniffle, I'm like, oh crap, did I get COVID again? Because I know there's a whole 5-day rigmarole that now I've got to go through, and it's going to set me back, and I'm not able to go and do things that I want, and I don't want to go and talk to people to make them sick, and and what's funny is that anymore it kind of feels like COVID-19 is a little less problematic than the actual flu, and yet I'm more concerned about COVID than the flu.
No, I'm dying.
You're dying.
Jake's still dying. He still has
I don't even have COVID. I'm dying.
See, it's fun because I had the swine flu back in the time when the swine flu was
H1N1.
yeah, where that was a big thing, and I feel like that was worse than COVID. No, not saying that to anyone who has COVID who's lost loved ones
Or long. I mean, the people that are suffering long-term COVID. That's a whole different story.
I'm not degrading that, but like as a kid, I had H1N1, and I felt like I was sicker then with COVID, where now I look at a cold as worse than the swine flu.
I will say the first time I had COVID, though,
It was pretty bad.
I had the man COVID. Like it was so bad.
Did you buy your casket?
Honestly, there was at one point that I remember laying on my bed, and I could feel I was super feverish, about 103, and I could feel my heart beating really, really fast, and I just couldn't catch my breath. And I thought, oh, this is what they're talking about. This is how I'm going to die.
Well, for anyone that does have those symptoms, they have caskets on Amazon that could be shipped to your house.
Really?
Yep.
What a pleasant thought.
What a better way to make your wife feel really bad for you than laying in your casket and going, I'm out.
That she just walks into the room and you're laying like Dracula.
I'll say, here goes my 8-age brain. Did you know that our great-grandmother tried out her caskets before she died?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Our dad's grandmother, she was this short little spitfire of a lady.
You're talking Great-Grandma McBride.
Yeah.
I see.
Great-Grandma McBride. She went and asked for a stool in her funeral home and laid in all the caskets to find which one was the comfiest.
What? Why would you even worry about which one's the comfy one?
I'm going to be in there for eternity. Dang well better be comfy.
Oh, man, throw me in a pine box.
Oh, no, COVID.
Jeez.
Flu death. Hey, I just want to point out my iPad's listening to me because now I'm getting advertisements about liver weight issues and doing yoga. And so Oh, here it is, right here. Overworked liver signs. 5 warning signs that the liver is full of toxins and causes weight gain. Oh my gosh.
My goodness.
I looked up the man flu just barely, and now they're talking about the camel flu.
The camel flu?
It's a man sick with killer camel flu that spreads in the air, boards plane as health officials race to trace. So
I was just imagining a poor camel out somewhere. as the camel's wife's like, "What are you doing?"
Aw, poor camel.
Oh, well, you got the camel flu, you got the sloth flu, you got the bird flu.
Yeah, the monkey.
Yeah.
The monkey. That's called the monkey virus.
No, the sloth flu is actually called sloth fever, I think is what it is.
No, but
Carried
I'm
by
talking
mosquitoes.
about the monkey thing. That's
Oh, there's a monkey thing now? Monkey pox.
monkeypox.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Do we just have to always be in a state of fear that something's going to kill us like that? Can't I just live in a world where I don't care about it? And
Well,
the
we
heart-
could get
the heart
into.
attack sneaks up on me and takes me out instead.
Well, we could talk about that, but we need to get into religious. There is going to be a world where you're going to be able to live free
Aw.
of that.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I like to say that.
Oh, jeez.
All right, going back to the man flu. I have 13 facts about the man flu right here.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna read a couple of them. Number 1, it doesn't stop with viruses. Studies have shown on mice, but they found that females release more stress hormone to deal with pain and infection, and that stress hormone has actually decreased the disease. And so it's not just, we're not even just talking about flus and sicknesses. We're just talking about any ailment in general
Yeah.
that could, that women just deal with it better. They're just better. Oh,
That's why I married a woman.
well, good.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I have to laugh as I'm going through the Google search of man flu. Everyone that is man flu is real and men do experience colds differently. When you click on it, it's written by a guy. Like every single
all the
one
ones that are really
that are
negative
like,
about it.
the truth about man flu, it's fake, written by a woman. I think there might be a gender divide here. We might be getting into some gender politics about the man flu.
Yep. Let's see. This one, man flu is now backed by science. Let's look who the
It was like Dr.
writers.
Kelly Sue or Sue Kelly or something like that. No, that's a DJ from Utah. That's not right. Shout out to Sue Kelly.
Hi, Sue Kelly. CNN says, don't doubt it, man flu is real, or so one Canadian researcher who has tired of being accused of overreacting. So we were right. What happened is this man got sick. His wife is like, oh, get over yourself. And he's like, that's it. I'm using academia to prove my point.
I feel like-
Here's my abstract. Men are sick.
Can you imagine someone standing up in like a master's thesis? And they're
Yes,
like,
I'm here to prove that
Men flu.
men are.
we're not wimps.
Okay, so here's an interesting 2-minute presentation. The guy who actually, this Canadian researcher, says he could provide evidence for men around the world to defend themselves in areas when they were being accused of having man flu. I want to know what, he doesn't actually say where my proof is, because that would be kind of nice.
So with that, here's what I brought up. As soon as you say that, I think of the man who cries wolf. Does that mean men aren't taken seriously when they have serious illnesses?
Oh, I don't know.
I just found signs your husband is suffering from the dreaded man flu. Ready for this? The exaggerated cough. COVID. Baby voice. Also the whisper voice or whiny
Oh,
voice.
how many do you guys use that? I will tell you when I'm super, I use it ironically, but like if I'm sick and I'm in bed and I need something, I will on purpose be like, honey, I don't feel good. Will you bring me some water? I'm assuming that's what the baby voice is. The problem is that my voice is so high anyways
It sounds
that
like that
it doesn't really sound, it sounds like I'm baby voicing all the
Oh
time.
my gosh.
I just cough my lungs out until my wife comes up and goes, "Are you okay? Yeah, can you give me water?"
You know, I'm one of those Generation Z. I just text my wife. I'm sick in bed. Help.
Okay, I want to know what are some more of the signs?
Let's see. We talked about this earlier. Refusal to see a doctor. What could they possibly do for me, honey? That's what it says here.
Man, did they put a camera in my room?
Oh, this next one's more specifically for Josh, just because he doesn't have kids and he can do this. Excessive napping.
Oh, that means I must have the man flu all the time.
When mom gets sick, they are expected to perform all normal activities as planned. When dad gets sick, they need sleep.
And do you know what?
I mean,
if I were to text my wife right now and ask what is the best remedy to help me, Josh, with a cold, she'll say, put him to bed.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but that is kind of true. Like, I get grumpy if I don't get sleep, and so I let people know, like, I need sleep to feel better. And I don't know if I give that grace to my wife. This is one of those things I'm gonna have to go home and like apologize profusely to her.
I feel like we need
get on my hands and I'm sorry. Honey,
This was an intervention. Little did Josh know his wife was secretly sending signs to go over this.
My gosh.
This is some grand conspiracy by our wives to make us feel bad.
Oh, here it is. Here's another one. Inability to care for children or household duties.
I will say this.
I feel guilty, so I tend to want to help anyway, but at the same time, when the kids come up and ask me for something, I usually have the excuse of, Dad's sick. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
I'll tell you what, I'll get you your food and put my germs on it, but I can't go and play with you.
See, and I feel bad because our wives are wonderful people, and they're super sweet, and they'll take care of us through everything. And so, like, my wife just steps in, even though she might be going through the same thing. And, like, I feel guilty, but at the same time, I'm in my man cold phase. And so it's like, oh, I'm guilty. I'll repay her later. And, like, pass out on the bed or whatever as she's making my food and, warming up stuff that, I need at that moment or want, quote unquote.
Okay, let's keep going through the list. I like this list.
Undetectable fever.
What is an undetectable fever?
99.1.
Well, shoot, that pesky man flu seemed to break all the thermometers in our house.
Oh.
So even though it says 98.6, you swear you have a fever. Now, I want to point out, I have had moments where I've taken my temperature and it's shown that, but you feel like you're burning up. Like you feel something, like you're like super hot.
See, and it's hard for me because I have a lower temperature just normally. I have about a degree lower than what it should be.
Lucky.
So I have like 98.7 is normal. I think I'm average like a 97.8, something like that. And so when my temperature is, in the 99s, which is not considered really a fever, I'm like dying.
I feel like I have a fever every time my wife doesn't turn down the temperature, which is often.
Always. Sorry, honey. I have my temperature at home at 65.
Oh,
I want that.
that's beautiful.
I'm allowed to turn the temperature down to 70 at nighttime, but during the day it's at 75, and I come home and go, it saves me money.
That's why I live in an apartment building and they pay for my power.
Oh, yeah.
Until they hear this podcast. And
then they're like, wait a
There it
minute.
goes.
That's why
Wait
I'm
a
not
minute.
saying who I am, where I live. All right, what's next?
Belief that medicine has no effect.
It's true.
But sometimes medicine really doesn't. Sometimes I have taken NyQuil or Dayquil and have it do absolutely nothing for me. And I know that's probably because NyQuil and Dayquil really just don't have anything good in it anymore.
They took the alcohol out.
Yeah. So maybe that's the case, but I don't know. I have felt like the medicine does nothing for me. Like, I've never had a fever break because of fever-breaking medicine like acetaminophen or ibuprofen.
Is everything just a placebo?
Oh.
That's next week's podcast history. Placebo.
Placebo.
No, here, I just had a thought. I wonder if it's mind over matter. Women have better control of their mind. Because we have a sister, she's special needs, sweetheart. She can literally will herself out of a sickness.
She absolutely, if there's an event that she wants to do in like a day or two, she literally like can just force herself to get better. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And there has been some times where I think that you have that power.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were going down to Disneyland one time and my son had a stomach bug. And I think he legitimately actually did have a bug, but we just kind of willed it away. We were like, no, there is no bug. It's just something you ate. You're going to get better. And he did, and none of us caught it, but So I think there is something to be said about like that you can almost like mind over matter
Yeah.
your sicknesses
Yeah.
away.
Because we also know of experiences. We had a guy living down the street from where we grew up who thought himself to death.
Yeah, literally.
And so I'm wondering if a lot of times, the mind, if you're not convinced that medication's going to help, it's not going to help. If it is going to help and you think about it and you're like, you know what, I'm going to get better, then you get better. And why don't we get better as men? Because we have the man flu.
Well, so I just was reading something right here. So this is kind of a point that I didn't actually think about is when people talk about the man flu or a man cold or everything, it's a lot of time it's derogatory. Like we're saying we're kind of making fun of the fact that men are feeling crappy, but it doesn't actually change the fact that you feel crappy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the research is saying that you might actually be feeling some worse symptoms in some cases, and yet every time you bring up those symptoms in any kind of real way, the first thing is, oh, you got the man flu. So maybe we need to cool it with mocking men about some of these, because maybe it's really bad for our mental health that we're not being believed.
Ooh, interesting.
Sorry.
That is a very interesting thing. Maybe we're crying out for help.
Oh, there you go. There is a epidemic of men's mental health lately. That is for sure. We'll get into that happy subject sometime, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been diagnosed with mental illness and different stuff like that, and it's a real deal.
Sure.
But it's very interesting that the man flu was probably just joked around for a while. But now, like I was saying earlier, it's like the men who cry wolf. The first 2 times it may be wrong, but the third time it's like, oh, I actually have something, and now that I say it.
Yeah. So there was another article that I was reading actually before I got here, and it's of a person who went into a doctor complaining about symptoms and was told, and it was a man to a man, so there shouldn't have been any kind of true gender bias. This guy was saying, hey, I don't feel good. These are my symptoms. And he was told by the doctor, it kind of just sounds like you got a cold. Men, we tend to exaggerate our colds. Went home, died. Because it was something else. So it's one of those things like, it's fun to think about, but maybe there are some actual true ramifications for talking about man cold being maybe a real thing. So now, to the extent that we can use it as an excuse all the time, probably not, but maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how I'm going to frame it next time I get sick.
Let's have a intervention with ourselves right now.
Okay.
What do you guys feel when you have the man cold?
Ooh, that's interesting.
What are your symptoms?
So, sinus pressure beyond sinus pressure. It feels like my head's going to explode. And I get the sinus pressure where it hurts your teeth. Have you guys ever had that?
Oh, yeah, that's the worst.
Where it feels like you've got like a toothache, but it's like all your upper teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the first sign that I have.
And so you get
cold.
that every time you have a cold?
Pretty much every time I have a cold.
Interesting.
Yeah. The cough, we already talked about the cough.
Yeah, the cough.
Cough is terrible. Headaches. Really bad headaches. I don't know. What about you, Jake? What are you feeling, Jake?
Right now.
I am feeling better.
Oh, good.
Ooh, look at mind over matter.
I know, it's amazing. No, I mostly, mine's discomfort in the throat.
Gotcha.
Oh,
which
scratchy throat.
I hate. And you can ask my wife. That is, for me, above all else, it's like I can deal with the rest of the symptoms, but when I have an uncomfortable throat, it just seems to throw me for a loop. And I sometimes get sore, but that's not so bad. The other thing that happens is I do tend to get hot faster. So if I'm in a hot place, unfortunately, it doesn't help because that type of feeling makes me grumpy.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why usually I try to keep myself in cool places, because if I'm in a hot place, I tend to be a little more angry about things.
So that's interesting. Have you guys ever tried to like sauna away your cold? Probably not. You guys aren't big sauna people.
Well, I have a sauna in my apartment. Shout out to my apartment. And I will say this. It is very much a stretch. You feel better after you go to a sauna or a steam room. But I've never
Josh just picked a booger. That
And
was the
then-
grossest thing I've
and
ever seen.
Threw it on our
And then
mother's
threw
carpet.
it on our mom's
Well,
carpet.
here's
She's
the
gonna hear
reason
about
why
this.
is I felt it, and I didn't realize that it's literally hanging out of my nose, and you guys have not said anything.
Well, you have a mic in front of your face. I can't see you.
My nose is pretty big.
Well,
But it's on top of the mic. So,
Oh, that
so your mic might be moving.
so going back to Jake, you don't like hot.
I hate hot.
Hate hot. So when you run a fever, do you get like the hot flashes or do you get the chills?
I get the hot flashes mostly. I will only really get chills when I have any type of stomach flu.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but what's funny is if I do get the chills, it doesn't really change my attitude that I need something cold.
So you still want to have?
I want ice. I want ice cream. I want a slushie. I want something.
Something.
Interesting.
Okay,
Once
what
upon a time, it was great because I could, get all that stuff and be fine. But when you're a parent, you don't get that
Because you'll have kids.
because you have kids come in and go, "I want that too," and then take it away.
Okay, what about you, Josh?
One of my biggest things that my wife pointed out before I came over is my inability to cope with social circumstances.
Oh, see now, we haven't even talked about like the mental side of things, but that is a big thing for me. I do not want to be around people.
I mean, I'm already a introvert myself. I
Sure.
mean, I can be extroverted, go about, do stuff. But I'm very introverted. I don't recharge my batteries with being people. I like my silence with my wife in my
Sure.
home. And that's one of the big things is my social battery goes down to 0. So there's no... And even I feel bad because even with my wife, it's like I just want to be in a dark room where I don't have to think, I don't have to talk to anybody, and I can just, sleep
Sure.
this thing off. Where normally I'm a lot better. I love being with my wife. I love coming to family's houses, whatever. But in those instances, that's one of the biggest things for me is just
It just drops to nothing.
drops to nothing.
That's interesting.
And that could just be patience.
What about touch? Do
Touch,
you guys
okay.
have any problems with touch? If I'm touched when I'm sick, like even by my wife, like even if she goes to like hold my hand or hug me, it's almost claustrophobic. Like to me, it's funny because I also want to be comforted. I want to be hugged. I want to be
Hug
held.
me. Don't hug me. Hug me.
Really, it's kind of like that.
I
where
need
it's
your
like,
love. Get away from me.
It's really kind of like almost like a two-sided, like almost bipolar like thing where it's I desperately want to be taken care of, but please don't touch me.
And here's another thing for me. If someone else is sick when I'm sick, that bugs the little crap out of me. So let's say I was sick and Jake's sick over there and he coughs. In my mind, I'd be like, that son of a gun, that piece of, organ. Even though I don't have any control over that. But
Sure.
when someone's sick, it's so weird that just gets on my nerves.
That's crazy.
It's because I'm prideful and just want everything about me.
I feel the same way about people chewing food.
Ooh.
When yes.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
100%.
That
I think
drives me nuts.
Though I think that's more nurture versus nature, because I will tell you
that was driven home
that
by
was
someone.
driven home with a vengeance in our household growing up.
Yes.
Chew with your mouth closed and
Which is funny
quietly.
because one side of our family
Not so much.
has a difficult time keeping their mouth shut.
We're gonna
with
keep
eating.
them guessing if they hear
Which
this.
one? Which of you?
You guys are gonna
which
be
side of the
self-conscious about it for the
family?
rest of the time.
You'll
now.
never know.
Yep, you'll never know. But yeah.
I mean, the reality, not that bad.
Oh
I mean,
no, they're not bad at all.
we had people that I grew up with that I would go to their house with their family and I would be like, oh my gosh. And the reality is they're not doing anything wrong.
No.
Like this is all just straight up our neuroses, but it was driven home with a vengeance. And so now when I'm an adult, like my poor toddler who's, it's 2, I'm like, chew with your mouth closed. And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
What is a mouth?
What are you saying to me?
Do you know the other thing I do when I have man colds? I leave my tissues places.
That's
Oh,
gross.
that's disgusting.
Yes, and that's the thing. But in my mind, if I leave it out, it has to be true. that I actually am sick.
Josh just kind of proved the point of all those thinking female blogs.
Who do you think wrote them, Josh? Yeah. So what we've learned today is man colds are probably just us exaggerating, and I'm the biggest one of them.
I'll bring up one thing. When you would get sick when we were younger, I tended to love it because a few things happened. One, you got catered to by your mother.
Oh, 100%. True.
Two, you were able to sit in a comfortable position, usually on the couch in the family room or in our case, other things.
We had those like
those robes.
Those robes that mom and dad had. Do you remember the
like
blue robes?
The kimonos? Not the kimonos, they're a Japanese robe.
Yeah.
They were
awesome.
thick and nice.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd be able to wear that, and then you got to watch cartoons and other shows that you wanted to watch.
Oh, see, now hold on. There's a generational gap here because when I was sick, there was not cartoons. I watched like Days of Our Lives and The Young and the Restless. I was finding out who was the evil twin and who was sleeping with who at the age of like 5, and I was like, well, I guess you could probably sleep with Sandra. I mean, I don't know. So I didn't have quite the cartoon experience.
Oh my gosh!
You didn't watch PBS?
No, because I had
Were you watching it with mom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was like
that makes sense.
So Regis and Kathy Lee. That was one that I remember.
See, that's a generational gap.
I love Regis and Kathy Lee.
I never had Kathy Lee. I had Kelly.
Oh, so you had Regis.
So you missed
Kelly.
out. I remember Kathy Lee in the switchover.
Had Regis and Kathy Lee. I had the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Yes.
Ooh,
where she shot the things out into the audience. So that was less fun for me because also at the time when I was growing up, we still had the rule that you couldn't play like Nintendo during the week. So even if you were sick,
not that he listened to that.
Well, that's true. I snuck downstairs and did it anyways. But when I was sick and you're sitting on the couch, like it wasn't all fun and games for me growing up when I got sick.
Oh.
Or cartoons. I should say that it wasn't cartoons.
It was awesome.
It's probably why I'm so warped.
Now, you bring up cartoons. As you guys are well aware, I didn't watch cartoons. I watched the History Channel when I was sick.
Yeah, you really were kind of a weird kid.
And I still do to this day.
Jeez, you guys... I watched everything. I mean, they had the old cartoons from like the 60s and 70s on some channels.
Oh, the Boomerang.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had that. I mean, we had you had your Pokemon.
Snuggleballs.
You had your K-Jack.
What are you doing?
Hey, ya boo boo. Hey, ya boo boo.
Or Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
Learning things about sexuality way before you were supposed to.
Yeah.
That's how you talk to a woman. Oh, nope. That's not how that works.
Nope. That's incorrect.
Oh, man.
See? But for me, like, that's comforting. And I always wonder sometimes if a man might be seeking that. Because, you go out, you work, you come home, you do other things, and then you have this moment where you're like, you know what? I deserve this because I'm sick. But to make me deserve this more, maybe I can be a little more sick.
Yeah, I need to actually show that I'm sick, so I deserve it. That's something that they have actually brought up is that men tend to exaggerate because people don't believe they're sick if they're sick. And so if you exaggerate your sickness, then people are more apt to believe you. They just kind of make fun of you because of it. So.
When we had COVID about 2 months ago, I had it first, and unfortunately, I gave it to my family. So, and so they were going through it, and then afterwards, we were playing a game, and my wife just brought up how it just wasn't comfortable, and she's like, "You got the better end of the deal," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I should have acted more sick."
So going with the comfort thing just for a second. I know we're running a little low on time, but did you guys have like comfort foods when you were sick? Was there something that you ate that you were like, "Oh, this is awesome"?
Mom always made ramen.
Yeah, ramen was a big thing.
Ramen, and then she made the
not for you
Sprite thingy.
The Sprite thingy?
Yeah, like the ice cream, the sherbet and Sprite. It was like
the
a shake.
What? I never got that.
I never got that either.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was
youngest
always...
child right over here. Your mother brought me mojitos.
Hey, I just like here. Wait a second. Pause. I'm going to share a story. During maturation program in 5th grade,
no, I don't like.
I got sick the day before, quote unquote sick.
Right.
So I didn't have to go. My mom was working. Dad was working. But my oldest brother just so happened to be home. I was not feeling good, so what did he bring me home? Pepto-Bismol and a Little Caesars pizza.
Well, did it help you?
Yes, it did.
Of course it did.
And then I found out about maturation later, but that's a different
I was
story.
going to say, did I bring it up?
No? My God.
Hey, Josh, here's some Pepto and some Little Caesars. Let's talk about sex.
Can you imagine?
Oh.
But that was also a comfort food for me, was Little Caesar. It still is.
Really?
Yep, even though it makes my tummy toss like a son of a gun.
I like how you said tummy. My tummy.
my tum-tum.
My tummy doesn't
My
feel
tummy
good.
doesn't feel good after that. What about you, Jake? You said no to ramen.
No, I did not eat ramen. In fact, you guys left your ramen everywhere.
Oh,
Everywhere.
Well, don't ask my wife. I leave the packets out, but
I inherited one of Danny's garbage cans, and it had a permanent thing of ramen on the bottom of it. I never got off.
dude, ramen was...
you would
Awesome.
eat it raw.
I would.
That's gross.
I would eat it raw. You take it and then you open the packet and you take the raw pieces, and this is gonna sound so sick, but you put it in your mouth just for a minute, and then you dip it in, and it was awesome.
And then you leave it on the floor.
And then you leave it on the floor. Or what was really bad is I used to go in the middle of the night and get it. That was like my midnight snack. And then I didn't have any place to put it, so I would jam it down the side of my bed.
And so once Jake moved into that bedroom,
so
Jake was
maybe
like, "Whoa, hey."
maybe the man flu wasn't that we were sick. It was because we're growing bacteria in
Probably.
our rims from our.
That's probably true. So, anyways, Jake.
I'm trying to think. I didn't eat a lot of crazy foods. I kind of stuck to the simple. I mean, I'd have a Pop-Tart in the morning. I loved my Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart.
And so I didn't have anything out of the usual.
Did Mom do saltines with you?
Saltines I had a lot of saltines.
Saltines was more when I had the stomach flu.
Yeah, if
Not
I
so
had
much
the
a
stomach
cold.
flu.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I would have a quesadilla for lunch. I'd had that. I guess the one thing I always would love is sometimes Mom would be nice and make me spaghetti at nighttime.
Oh, that's true.
And I loved spaghetti. Or we'd go to Wendy's.
That's
and Wendy's
true.
has always had a special place in my heart because I love it. So,
Interesting.
which is funny because at the time the shakes always did not make me feel great, but
I was going to say, you got
What?
sick with the Frosty
I
shakes.
did.
So
every
you
time.
get sick with Frosties. I get sick with Little Caesars.
I don't get sick with Frosties anymore. It went
Oh,
away.
I
interesting.
get sick with people who have weak stomachs.
Well, then you hate us.
I've had to go see doctors about my pain.
Okay.
Mine?
Yep.
Coke.
Coke, really?
Uh-huh.
Do you know
Every
why
time
I think
was
that
sick,
is?
I had Coke.
I think it's because of our grandmother.
Oh, I think so too. Because that's grandma swore by it.
Mm-hmm.
That the caffeine and then the Coke syrup would make you feel better. And I think I internalized that because even still today, and I've been off caffeine and pop for now a couple months. If I get sick, that is my first thing that I want is a Coke.
Oh, see, I hate Coke.
Oh, how could
Give me a Mountain Dew.
how could you hate something?
Now,
like that?
bringing up our grandma who did Coke, she
did Coke. She drank Coke.
Everyone, I just want you to know.
Grandma's over there sniffing line. I got a cold. No, I don't.
I'd just like to point out, I've learned something while doing this podcast. I say things out of my butt a lot.
Well, that's disgusting.
And second of all, when you do something embarrassing in front of your two brothers, it's going to be told to the whole world. But anyways, she would drink Coke often.
Uh-huh.
But she also made toast.
Oh.
And it was the perfect toast.
Well, and see, that's another thing I was going to bring up is when I was young and sick, we would go to grandma's still.
Mhm.
And I remember grandma making things like, and it sounds funny, but you're thinking toast. Oh, well, grandma spent a lot of effort into it, but it was toast with enough butter on it to cause me a heart attack at 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know, or she would make food for you. And so I associate food and sickness heavily.
Mhm.
Which is why we're the size we are.
Amen to that, sir.
Because we're always sick because we had the man flu.
The man flu.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? But going back to Mom would make me toast, and it had to be cut in triangles.
It would have to be
This-
cut
not
in triangles.
have to. She would cut it.
Youngest child
She would
all
cut it
over the
into
place.
triangles, and now I associate that with getting better.
Really?
Yep. So
Triangle the shape, so you just need to go to sleep with triangle on the ceiling and you'll be fine.
no. Eating toast. That's in a triangle.
I was
shape.
kind of excited. I'm like, this is
So
a fascinating
I will make
psychology
myself
study we can go
toast
over.
with the man flu, and I will still
You'll
cut
feel
it.
better.
I will cut it in a triangle, and I feel better.
That's interesting. So
Well-
maybe there is a lot more mind.
Actually, it just sounds like we have a problem with food and we just want food.
That's exactly
it's an
probably
excuse
what
to
it
eat
is.
food.
I think. Well, what it's coming down to is we have a problem expressing ourselves unless we're sick, and
So I don't know if we're less dramatic than we are the rest of the time.
I think that maybe we're coming into a fact that we all need to seek some professional and psychological help.
And that brings me back to the medical journal at the very beginning that I brought up. The last line said the man flu may just be a way to communicate where men feel they can't communicate.
Oh, great!
That's
Full circle.
deep.
That was a perfect segue. Okay, final thoughts, gentlemen. We'll start with Jake.
I eventually will get better. But until then, I want to watch my cartoons, which I don't get to because anytime I sit down, my kids are like, Bluey, YouTube, Bluey.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling saltines and Coke. Ooh, that's just
Danny's on a diet, so this is great
Oh,
news.
it is. It is.
Guess what we're doing this weekend?
Saltines and
Oh,
Coke.
that's right.
I know, seriously.
We're
Okay,
gonna
and,
put Coke on his donut.
and with the person who brought this enlightening subject to us, Joshua, you get to end it for us.
I do admit I did pick my nose on this podcast. and,
We saw it. It went on the
And-
floor. Mom.
and
Mom.
Mom's going to be pissed.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for twaddling along in our discussion on the man-cold man flu.
Just exaggeration.
Next week, we will be jumping back into history. We don't know what the subject is yet, but it should be
Oh,
very
no.
fun and interesting. Until then, we'll see you.
I feel like I should have a cutout here. Should I say something awesome?
Go, say something awesome, Jake.
I don't.
That's the way to go out on man cold.